did a number on my knee. Where'd that go? I thought he was a nice man.
A little wily.
Yeah. I'm alright. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good.
Maybe.
Okay. All right. Guys, the floor's open to you guys. Whoever wants to talk to Zack.
Zack right here.
Yeah.
Hi, Xenia from XT. Congratulations on your big pay-per-view win tonight. Amazing match. And now that I think you've had your biggest win in AEW so far among your appearances, do you have your sights set on the title possibly or another big opponent?
Well, obviously this is like my fourth AEW pay-per-view match and like my first victory. So I think going into this match, like Orange Cassidy, I think sort of felt I was disrespecting him. But I don't think there's a wrestler in the world that like respects Orange Cassidy more than me. I think anyone that knows like my personality or like my taste in like music and film probably think I'm like a pretentious wanker. But I actually knew that Orange Cassidy was cool way before all of you. Like 10 years ago, like roughly we were like in the Northeast Indies, and if like I was on before Orange Cassidy, I'd be at like the merch stand watching the match, losing my mind, and the rest of the crowd like was like, what is this maniac doing? So like we both wanted this match for a long time. Obviously, I hoped it was going to happen last year. Like it didn't work out. So yeah, like self-contained, like to beat Orange Cassidy is massive for me. Like not only for it to be my first AEW like pay-per-view victory. I think if there's anyone disregarding how talented Orange Cassidy is at pro wrestling, they're a fucking idiot. So it's massive for me. And then obviously not to disregard like AEW, but for me, like this is the beginning of my summer, and then we have the G1 Climax in 3 weeks' time, which is, I mean, no offense, it's like the most important tournament in all of pro wrestling. It has the biggest history, and you know, like the continuity of quality, and like my objective and goal right now is to not just reach the top of New Japan as a foreigner, but to reach the top of New Japan as the top, and then my motivation and all of my responsibilities to carry New Japan into the future. Thank you.
Hi, Phil Strong from USA Today Sports Media Group. You and Orange Cassidy both are two of the more unique styles that anybody's going to see in a card that has a lot of unique styles. What kind of unique challenge did this match pose to you personally to get in there with it? Thanks.
To be honest, there was like no challenge because Orange Cassidy is one of the most unique pro wrestlers like in all of pro wrestling, and I mean whether it's stubbornness, but like my entire sort of motivation since I started wrestling 20 years ago was to try and wrestle as true to myself in the way that like I feel is what it's not what I think pro wrestling should be, it's like what I want to be as a pro wrestler. So in that sense it was quite liberating because that match could only be the match that we were going to wrestle. Like I didn't feel any sort of pressure on trying to bend to other expectations. I'm very happy with the match. I think that's what it should have been. And also I feel like it's not I don't think that story is ended because, I mean, everyone should have known how skilled Orange Cassidy was. Like he wasn't just keeping up with me, he was outdoing me at multiple occasions. And then just luckily I'm the best in the rest of the world. So I got him in the end, but it was a little bit dicey a couple of times.
We're SME Radio. So you've had a lot of high-profile matches this year. Bryan Danielson in Osaka, last week had Cero in Arena Coliseum, obviously tonight versus Orange Cassidy, and you've been a bannerman for British technical wrestling. And so what does it mean to you to kind of be the face of that style of UK wrestling and really spread that all over the world right now?
Yeah, I guess obviously I debuted at like a very interesting time for British wrestling. Like I started training in 2002, which was like the post-World of Sport, like the period of British wrestling that people call World of Sport. Obviously we had such a unique style and identity. Obviously we lost television and everything, you know, American wrestling had such a huge impact. But I was fortunate that I was really trained by one of the largest schools, like Hamburg Wrestling, like Andre Baker, John Ryan, that's where like Finn Balor and Becky Lynch and like a plethora of other people come from. But we were very fortunate that not even the foundation of that training, but the the training was solely British wrestling. Like, I don't wrestle that way because that's what I was taught. Like, I wrestle that way because that was what inspired me the most. I think, like, my goal has been to not just sort of keep that in a sort of like retro fashion. Like, if British wrestling had stayed on television, it would have evolved in the same way Mark Rocco was doing top rope drop kicks in 1980. Like, it would have been like a static style. So I'm continuously trying to keep the essence of British wrestling whilst not being like stuck in the rigid sort of format of like what it was before. So then to be able to wrestle in America, I mean AEW has changed the entire industry, because to be able to have a large scale American company that completely respects pro wrestling did not exist before, and it's only had a paramount influence on, you know, every other company here. I think we're at the time now where people just respect and admire like quality wrestling. And then also like the main event tonight, like I said this to other people, the main event, the expectation of Will versus Swerve from naive people would be like, oh, these guys are gonna have a crazy match. The match wasn't special because it was a crazy match. The match was special because people were completely invested in both of their characters and how much depth they have, and it's almost like a bonus that they are so immensely skilled. So I think, like, I'm motivated as a British wrestler because now it's unparalleled. Like, the Forbidden Door at first was somewhat forbidden. Now it's, you know, it's slightly naughty. But what's special about this year is that we have STARDOM and CMLL involved. I think it's somewhat unparalleled that we have 4 global companies completely intertwined. I'm going to wrestle Hechicero for Rev Pro's anniversary show in August, the day before AEW run Wembley for the 2nd time. Like, this is incredible. I was in CMLL last week. Hechicero wrestled MJF tonight. Like, what is going to change the industry, or at least progress it further, is those 4 companies completely intertwined, and then I want to be as much of a, you know, involved in that as much as possible.
One more question.
Hi, Kate from Pikeville. Somebody else who got a win on tonight's card, Brian Danielson. You guys are 1-1. I have to ask for sickos like me. Any hints at where the 3rd one might be?
I think we were talking about the North Palm. What's the weather like this time of year? We've, yeah, of course, our first match was in England. We had a rematch in Germany that's somewhat forgotten, and then we had the match at Wrestle Dream in Japan. I know that Brian says he's winding it down, but he's a pervert, so I can't imagine. in a wrestling sense, I'm not. That's not against his character. Yeah, we have to. Like, we at least have to have one more match in England. And then, yeah, I mean, obviously, Brian, I've said this countless times, but when I wrestled Brian for the first time in England, in front of a pub, in front of 50 people, when he had no idea who I was, and he gave me so much, it kickstarted my entire career, and I can never repay the debt to him outside of trying to break all of his limbs. So I'm yet to tap out Brian Dennison, so we have to have at least one more match where he lets me try.
Zack Saber Jr. Charming as always. Thank you so much for joining us.